Well, that was quite the return, wasn't it? Bray Wyatt popped back up at Extreme Rules 2022, and he got such a crazy reaction, it doesn't even matter what happens now. Even if he comes out tomorrow and loses to Goldberg again, I wouldn't give a flop. This is like Cody Rhodes Part 2. They both had these incredible 2022 moments. So when the American Nightmare does come back, if Triple H goes, ha ha ha, you're going to be Stardust now, I couldn't give two hoots, because again, this kind of stuff will remain with them for a lifetime. Now that Bray is here though, my word, the rumor mill has gone into absolutely crazy times, to the point there may actually be a secret behind Bray Wyatt's return. Why? Here's why. Now please do remember this is just wild speculation and that there's nothing wrong with that. You're a fan, we're a fan, everybody is a fan. One of the best things about wrestling is sitting down and going, oh, I'm going to be armchair book here and I'm going to fantasy book. I mean, as long as you don't put your own expectations on the actual product following that, I say have at it. Because really there are too many negative Nancys in the world, but let's just shelve that for 1 second. Because around about 12 hours after Bray Wyatt had returned, Brian Alvarez, the hero of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, radio, whatever you want to call it, the website, reported that Bo Dallas had also returned to WWE. And if you know why this is a big deal, well, you're already with me. If you don't though, his real name is Taylor Rotunda and Bray's real name is Wyndham Rotunda, because that's right, in reality, these guys are brothers. For years too, people have always wondered, well, why don't they join them at the hip? Even more so when they got towards the end of their WWE tenures, because they weren't doing much of anything and there was an idea staring you right in the face. And even more crazy, and I will never get over this, Bo Dallas was killing it in NXT, he was killing it, the Hope Leave thing, and then we put him on the main roster and we never pulled the trigger properly. So as you can see, I'm still affected by this. That character was great. That is the past though, so we don't worry about it, and instead we will turn to Bray Wyatt's Twitter account, which for a long old time has been titled the Wyatt Six. Now we have been talking about this over the last few months, and given everything that happened at Extreme Rules, it felt like the wink wink nudge nudge was done. Because you had the rabbit, you had the pig, you had the witch, you had the buzzard, you had the fiend, and you had Bray Wyatt. And there's some wrestling maths for you, but let's do it together like Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But just wait a minute, because with Dallas coming back into the fold, all of a sudden people have started to go, well, okay, I understand that it relates to Bray Wyatt's characters, but what if these characters are going to be actual wrestlers? I don't mean that Huskus the Pig Boy is going to take on Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, but I am saying maybe we're about to build a stable around Bray again. Because let's face it, last time we did that, it was pretty good. Now, there are plenty of ways you can spin this to ensure your favourite wrestler does get in there, but let's just look at some facts, or at least some apparent facts, to begin with. Because when Abby the Witch was zoomed in on at the Premium Live event, do you know what was behind her or to the side of her? It was the women's title. Now, I don't think this is anything to get too crazy about because it was probably just some fan merchandise. I mean, they were stood in the audience. But it did lead some people to say, well, I believe this means Liv Morgan is going to team with Bray Wyatt. And you're allowed your opinion, but I think it's wrong. Because whether we were meant to see those titles or not, for the last few months, every time Alexa Bliss has had a match or she's been on screen, Corey Graves has been all like, there she is. Alexa Bliss. Well, she's not the same person as she used to be. She never wins. I mean, what an absolute loser. If I'm walking down the street and I hear a football team loses, I just think of Alexa Bliss because she can't win for shit. It felt a little bit unnecessary at the time, but now I'm starting to get my intrigue face, especially because as soon as Wyatt had returned, Alexa wrote something on Twitter along the lines of, "Hello, my old friend," and she didn't tag Wyatt in any of this. She just put it out there into the ether. Now, I absolutely am going to go on a limb and say this does tie in, because do you remember when we had the Burn Fiend? Who was his best friend? It was Alexa Bliss and her doll. We never got to have a conclusion with that because somebody fired Bray Wyatt, so why not carry it on? I'll be the first person to go, in my dream world, I prefer the original Alexa Bliss character, but we ain't doing that either, so let's start to have some fun with this. You can then go on an absolute flight of fancy, because you can go and get Bo Dallas and say, hey Bo, why don't you be the rabbit? I mean, how that ties into them being brothers, I don't know, but I'm sure we can figure it out. Dexter Lumis has also been walking around trying to kill people, so that ties in. He's a psychopath, and I suppose he could be the buzzard. Or although I will throw a curveball in there straight away, because as soon as Wyatt had returned to Extreme Rules 2022, NXT's Grayson Waller tweeted out a picture of an eagle emoji. Now, I'm sure he didn't want to tweet a picture of an eagle emoji, but there was no buzzard one, so he just tied it into birds. Now, don't just think he did this for lols, and during the same period, Joe Gacy also tweeted out a normal smiley face and an upside down smiley face, so maybe he can be the pig boy. And don't forget, when you're going, Simon, where are you coming up with this stuff? In those White Rabbit teases, one of the answers or one of the clues was Joe Gacy. So why the flub not? He's also the leader of his own cult, so he has some experience with this. And I actually think it makes perfect sense. Because right now, Bray is absolutely the hottest thing that WWE has. So why not attach some other young up-and-coming stars to him and ensure they become players as well? I mean, we did it with Evolution back in the day, which is doubly crazy, because Evolution is a mystery. I just kind of feel that if Bray does pop up and just goes, oh, hi, I'm back now, and goes back into the same old thing, it lacks any kind of creativity. And also, I've already talked about it once during this video, when was Wyatt at his best? When he was surrounded by others. It also means you don't need to do too much of this supernatural stuff, because he can just play mind games, but the real threat comes in numbers. Once again, wrestling's been doing that for a long ass time. And I don't even care if all of this does turn out to be absolute gibberish, because just being associated with this return, I think, helps. And also, there are alternatives. For example, Braun Strowman is back in the WWE, and that one writes itself. And as far as I know, Eric Rowan is still a free agent. So you really could turn the clock back with this, but I think that's why it's so exciting, and why I'm happy that Bray Wyatt has come back, because he's just like a creativity canvas. You can throw whatever you want on it. I tell you the best part though, which is how you can use this as a metaphor for your own life. When Bray Wyatt did get released in 2020, I would imagine he was pretty upset. I mean, I was stunned, so he was probably doubly shocked. But here we are in late 2022. He has been rehired and has now been a part of one of the best returns, and I mean it, in wrestling history. So he just must be feeling all warm and fuzzy in his tum-tum. So don't forget, even though sometimes we do find ourselves down, maybe a bigger up is just around the corner. And yes, of course, all of this could be absolute crap and Bray Wyatt's just going to come back as a massive rabbit, but the fact that we even get to speculate about this, I think, is absolutely great. And also, what if they do this? Think about if we did have these six, right? You've got Bray Wyatt, obviously, you've got Jay Gacy, you've got Dexter Lumis, you've got Grayson Waller, you've got Alexa Bliss, and you've got Bo Dallas. I think that's a really interesting bunch of people to throw in together, and I can't even imagine what that would look like. But you call it the Wyatt Six, and then Bray Wyatt is the focus, and you can make him the champion, and we could all just have a good time and then go home for tea and crumpets. I mean, you've got to get Grayson and Joe up somehow, so that's a great way. I've already told you how much I love Bo Dallas. Alexa Bliss isn't doing much of anything, and I still don't know why Dexter Lumis wants to kill The Miz. Maybe this would be the explanation. Bray just told him to. So all of this has been absolutely great, and as you can see, even though it is Monday as I'm recording this, 48 hours on, I am still so pumped, and I cannot wait to see what we do next. So well done, Triple H. You made the right call. Now please do leave a comment below, and look, this could get crazy. Just remain calm and give me your opinions. Does Wyatt Six tie into a group? Does it mean anything, or have we gone absolutely nuts? And what will be the end game here? Also, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com. We shall keep you up to date with all of this. Also follow us on social media at Simon316 and WhatCultureWWE. And if you would prefer to be updated via videos, make sure you have subscribed, because we're gonna keep them coming. And when we know, you'll know too. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you very much for watching me as always. And I'm doubling down on this now. The Wyatt Six, the six people I said, will be a real thing. We're all in for an absolute treat. Problem now is that I'm never right. It's why everybody hates me. Goodbye.